when I went into the doll aisles 2 years ago, I just thought it was crazy that, Asian Americans, despite being almost 10% of this country's population, were largely invisible or reduced to really bad stereotypes.
That was Eleanor Mak, the founder of doll company Jilly Bing, on CBS Mornings last year to discuss the importance of representation after she couldn't find an Asian American doll for her daughter. Mak told us after President Trump took office in January, the climate around diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, began shifting, making it harder for brands like hers to gain visibility. And she now says sweeping 145% tariffs on Chinese imports threaten the very survival of her business, as nearly all toy manufacturing happens overseas. Eleanor Mak joins us now. Thank you so much for being here. Full disclosure, I saw your story on a local station in New Jersey. I bought one of your dolls for my friend's daughters, never knowing that you and I would be here talking today. But it's my understanding that you grew this business from June 2022 to now. How were you able to grow, and how are tariffs now impacting your business?
Yeah, I started Jilly Bing in my basement right here in San Francisco 3 years ago because I couldn't find a doll that looked like my daughter. And now, fast forward 3 years later, I'm just trying to survive. As a founder, it feels like small businesses are being most negatively impacted by these tariff headwinds, these policies that, I think were really meant to protect small businesses. Lindsay, I don't have a choice but to make my dolls in China. There are no factories in the US that can make dolls like ours. In fact, over 70% of the world's toys are made out of China. So while bigger toy companies can absorb some of these costs or ship their productions to other countries, I just can't afford to do that. So I have made the tough call to pause our manufacturing. The 100% plus increase in our costs is just not something we can make happen or live, continue to survive on. And for me as a founder of this company, I don't want to, and I can't put our mission and our future on this type of uncertainty.
What does pausing manufacturing mean for your company and your livelihood over the next few months?
Yeah, so it means that we're not placing new orders. We are going to luckily through some of the other headwinds we faced, we have inventory, and our plan is to continue to sell based on the inventory we have.
Is this hurting the strides that you have been trying to make, that you have fought so hard to bring this doll to market, and now here you are having to pause manufacturing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're still here, through some of the headwinds that I'll just share with you that we faced as a business, right? Both the policy changes, some of, business challenges. So last November, one of our retail partners pulled a massive holiday order at the last minute. No clear reason was given, but I suspect it was tied to the DI programs being cut at that time. And for us, Jilly Bing isn't about woke culture. I just felt there was this gap in the doll aisles, and I want to create this business and bring more smiles to more kids. And then the other piece was at the start of this year, my factory announced it was shutting, separate from the tariffs. So, and I couldn't just find a new factory right away, right? Starting with a new doll factory generally takes 12 to 18 months to get the process going. So we rushed to bring in some more inventory, but it just really broke us as a small company. So, today we have, we're still selling, we still have limited inventory, but, I think that won't last forever.
What is your, I know you're thinking in the immediate future, there's so much uncertainty, but how do you even make plans for 1 year down the line or long term? I mean, this is your livelihood now, and what action would you like to see be taken on a larger scale?
Yeah, our dolls are meant to be Asian American. Our Jilly doll loves soccer games. She loves tinkering in the kitchen with grandma. She loves picnics, and our dolls have brought so much joy to children and adults. And it is really heartbreaking for me to even think that this could all go away. And I think for us, when businesses like ours don't make it, I think families lose these options. And I think knowing that, is really what, inspires me to keep going, to figure out this, to get creative in, how we bring these characters to our customers. In terms of a message, I think for me, I was taught that, being an entrepreneur is the American dream, but right now it feels like a nightmare because of all these things that are completely out of my control.
Wow. Eleanor Mak, I'm sorry we're speaking under these circumstances, but please keep us posted. Thank you.
Thank you.